If you knew what your true yes was and what your true no was in all areas of your life, would you be able to choose faster and easier? What futures would those choices create? Everyone is capable of connecting to their bodies in a way to have more exuberant and joyful living now and in the future. Now, here is your host of Choosing a Different Future with Siris.
Hi, everyone. I'm Siris Raquel Rivas-Verdejo, and you are here listening to Choosing a Different Future with Siris. Our topic for today is honoring those who have passed, and I want to give a big thank you to everyone who sent in words of encouragement, of love. They sent in names of family members. They sent in their own little messages. And so we'll be sprinkling those in throughout our show today. So thank you for all of our new listeners, all of our long-term listeners that sent in all these just such supportive, loving, caring, kind things that I would love the world to have more of. And this is probably one of the most selfish shows. I will fully acknowledge that I've ever done. This was a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. And so I'll talk a little bit more about why I chose this topic in a little bit. If I'm new to you, hi. I am a family and child coach. I work with families and children around the world virtually to make sure that everyone's strengths and interests are honored so that everyone in the family can thrive. I'm also a body relationship coach, which means that I'm communicating with your body as I'm activating and turning on different energies in my body to facilitate more clarity and ease in any area of your life where you are using your body, which is, if you didn't get the memo, every area of your life. And then I also happen to be the creator of the Living and Dying Body Process, which is a body process that awakens more living, more exuberant joy and clarity in your body and lets you know what your unique gifts and capacities are with creating your life. Wonderful topic today. So many things to look at. I want to make sure that you know about some of our upcoming events as well. We have an awakening classes, which is where people get to learn the body process that I just mentioned. We have one in January of 2023, and we have one in June of 2023. The January one is broken up into two parts. It's a two-part certification class, and the June one will be a one-day shebang. And then we have our expansive energies group. This is a group that is an energetic laboratory where people get group sessions of all these different modalities that we explore and talk about so that people are prioritizing their self-care, and people get facilitation and coaching within a group environment. But if you're interested in individual coaching, I also provide that as well. And you can explore that by going to my website, empoweringlightlanguage.com, and going under the coaching tabs and little prompts in there. There's a lot of free ebooks as well for you to explore. Another wonderful group that we're about to start that I'm very excited about for the new year is Being a Different Possibility group. It's for anybody that is interested in supporting families and children in a different way and respecting and awakening even more how they have a unique perspective on that. They can get some additional tools, they get resources, support, they get coaching and facilitation, and that is a group format instead of the individual or family at a time, one family at a time dynamic that I already offer. So really excited about these new ways that I can be there for you all. And this is part of what this show's episode is going to be about as well. I'm going to read the description for you before we get started. So we all know someone who has fallen ill, and the way they function makes it feel like we are dealing with a totally different person. We all know someone who has died, and it feels like they have left us, which can create depression and loss. And have they truly left us? This is one of the things we're going to be exploring today. So in today's session, we're going to be looking at a lot of different things. We're going to be joining together and joining with our loved ones and anyone else who has impacted us that has passed, and honor them and each other in a different way than perhaps you may have ever considered before, so that we can set ourselves up to create a new way of connecting with them and ourselves. So go ahead and get comfy in your seats. Go ahead and give your bodies a really big hug. Stay with your bodies during this discussion. Okay. And what I mean by that is sometimes you might go in your head and recall different memories. Even as you're doing that, make sure you're still with your body too. Okay. And one easy way to do that is by giving those hugs, those squeezes in a firm but loving way. And then in whatever way you're connecting with us, be it auditorily or visually through our many different platforms, over 450 platforms now that you can connect with us through, make sure that you have the energies of your loved ones with you, your memories of them, and keep that in mind so that in whatever way you'd like this to contribute to them and to those memories, it can be more direct, okay? And I will be activating the energies of the living and dying body process in my body and connecting with all of your bodies, even those listening in the future. Hi! And I'm also going to be connecting with your loved ones, with their energies, with what they would like you to know. And I'd like to stimulate more flow, more clarity, more space, more ease with whichever way you're grieving, in wherever stage you are in the grieving process. All right. And we're going to look at and start with one of the positions. There's multiple hand movements and positions of the living and dying body process. And I'd like to gift you one of them today. And we're going to activate this on ourselves and together. So if you get a chance and you aren't in a place right now to do this particular part where you touch your body, where I'm going to guide you to touch to activate these energies within your body, don't worry. Come back to this episode and listen to it again. It will still contribute to you because I will still be turning these energies on in my body and flowing that to your body. Okay. As I'm saying this, I can already perceive that some of you might be like, whoa, what's this going on here? I invite you to soften. This is a very gentle energy and process. Okay. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to actually be very relaxing and allow you to connect with your body and your loved ones more effectively. Beyond all of the upheaval, the sadness, the grief, you can actually maybe recall some things that you'd forgotten in the midst of all of the logistics and the funeral planning and the end of life, and if they've gotten sick and things like that. But some of the times those more recent memories eclipse all those other ones of before. And we can access all of them even more together today if you'd like. And it's totally your call. You get to choose. Okay. It takes a lot of bravery to have these discussions and to stay with your body through these intense feelings and emotions that can come up. And so I commend you, each and every one of you who are willing to listen to this, willing to be here with these energies, and willing to contribute to our global community who is looking to have more ease and clarity with this, looking to set the platform up for all of us to be able to let go of a lot of these things that are holding on to us, that are not serving us anymore, while still cherishing our loved ones in whatever way would work for you. It's really important for me personally, why I really wanted to discuss this is because I was getting really sad and really upset, particularly because my grandmother, who has been one of the most important people in my life, she passed away this past June, which is now what, 5 months ago. And she was my first babysitter. She was at every big event in my life, even when we were, had an ocean apart, and she was in Puerto Rico and we were in the United States. She would come and fly to everything. And even though I've had over 12 people that have passed away. I lost count after 12. I don't know why 12. I was just like, okay, I'm done counting. Ugh, whatever. I've had over 12 people pass away in the last 2 years. I know many of you have had many people pass away in the last couple of years. And so just know that I am here with you with that. And I think with her, it was just kind of like not even the straw that broke the camel's back. It was like the camel that broke the camel's back, because she was as big as almost everybody else that had passed away. And maybe you have somebody like that has transitioned, that you are holding on to right now, that you're honoring, that you're having them accompany you while you listen to this show today. And so go ahead and just acknowledge that for a moment. I'd like to acknowledge some of the other people that I'm grieving still, even though they're not as recent. All of my grandparents have passed away. I've had many of my exes who have committed suicide, who have died through sudden different illnesses, very young, colleagues and friends, and they're here. They've been here with me as I was preparing for this call. They've been definitely here with me today as I've been seeing clients and getting ready and setting up the lighting and the microphone and everything to talk with you today. And it's been such a loving and gentle energy. I've been very, very cold until I realized, hey, wait, I can turn on these energies. I can ask them to warm me up instead of connecting with me with a cold temperature. So if you're feeling a bit of a chill, acknowledge it, please. And go ahead and ask these loved ones that you're starting to perceive their presence here with you. Say, hi, I perceive you. I know you're here. Would you mind it being a warm hug instead of a chilly hug? Would you mind it being like a kind of womb, like drinking some hot tea? And for many of you know, I love my teas. I'm a tea fiend, instead of whatever is uncomfortable. So it can be a little bit more ease. A lot of us, we don't know that we could ask something like that. And so we don't do it. And then we actually have the grieving process be a lot more uncomfortable and intense than it has to be. Okay. So just know that. I also wanted to talk about this topic to acknowledge that for many of us, it's birthdays that, yes, we miss our people, but it's also all these holidays that are coming up. Thanksgiving is, by the time that this airs, Thanksgiving would be the day before. So this is going to be airing the day after Thanksgiving. I'm pre-recording this. And then we move into Christmas, we move into the New Year's, and all these parties and festivals and family gatherings, perhaps. And that's when we see those placemats, and we see those chairs empty, and we see those gifts that we would have liked to give them under the tree or things like that, and they're not there. And I would like to acknowledge that that is totally valid, and that's totally common, and yet it doesn't make it any less challenging sometimes, and that's okay. So I'm hoping that our discussion today will give you some ideas, some specific tips as to how you can honor your family members in a way that you haven't considered before. And also for us to, as a community, say, hey, I'm willing to contribute to you. I get it. I'm there too, or I've used to be there and I'm kind of more on the other side. There's no timeline for grief. There's no, oh, by this time you should feel this certain way. There's no prescription. And so let yourself feel however way you feel, and know that you don't actually have to have the same level of suffering, the same level as upset as maybe someone else is telling you you have to feel. Okay. If you would like more ease with this, I invite you to activate these energies within your body and with the people listening. And the more people that do this, the more space we can create together. So if you'd like to be a leader within the community, a leader within your family, I highly recommend you joining us in these following exercises. All right. I'm going to mention a couple of the people that gave some shout outs, and then we'll continue to mention people throughout the episode. Like I mentioned, Jamie W said that Diane Mitchell Booney, quote unquote Booney Whalen, passed away in December 12th of 2014. So the anniversary for that is coming up. Big hug to you, Jamie. My friend Linda, her aunt passed away in the last couple of weeks. I've been able to talk with her throughout, and the funeral would be just this past Saturday by the time this airs. So it's on the upcoming Saturday right now. Lynn Winter, she wanted me to say Lynn Winter honors her grandparents, her best friend that passed in a car accident in 6th grade, and so many other family and friends over the years that have brought joy to the lives of others. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this is just the beginning, everyone. Thank you for these beautiful messages. Take a moment and give your family members and the loved ones that are accompanying you through this episode a hug, an energetic hug. And also, if you wouldn't mind giving these hugs to those who just sent those messages and to their family members as well, would really, really appreciate it. And we're going to do it in a explicit way in a moment, in a more explicit way in a moment. So it's time for our first break. When we return, we will continue to discuss how we can activate the energies of the living and dying body process in a gentle and nurturing way. You are listening to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, myself Siris, on the Inspired Choices Network. When we return, we will continue to discuss honoring those who have passed. We will be right back.
Most people haven't been taught how to listen and partner with their bodies in order to create lives that include clarity, pleasure, ease, and connection. Tuning in to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and resources on how to use your awareness of bodies and energy to your advantage. Siris is a family and child coach and therapeutic energy worker who will guide you to get clear and acknowledge what's brilliant, magical, and a gift about you.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Choosing a Different Future show with Siris. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Connect with Siris through her website, empoweringlightlanguage.com, or send an email to empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Siris Raquel Rivas-Verdejo, and you are listening to Choosing a Different Future with Siris. Today, our show topic is honoring those who have passed. And before we went on break, we started talking about some of the considerations for honoring those who have passed. And we have chosen, hopefully you've chosen, to recall some of the people you'd like to honor, have them accompany you in this discussion. And I started to read some of the messages from people who would like me to mention their loved ones' names in our episode. If I don't get to you, I probably didn't see the message, but just know that you can send me messages about your loved ones at any time, and especially in the coming weeks and months. And I would love to contribute energy to you and to them at any given moment. Okay. Please make sure that if you're enjoying our show, that you subscribe to any platform that you're listening to us through. You can find us on over 450 platforms, any smart TV device, any smart device, period, phones, for all podcasts and TV platforms. We're available on that right now, which is really, really exciting. And you can also join us live in our chat room and connect with us using the ICN app, the Inspired Choices Network app. It's a great app, and it gives you access to all of our episodes and to all these other podcasts that are on this network. I've been exploring them myself, and it's been wonderful. I'm very lucky to be a part of this community. So let's continue, shall we? Let's go ahead and start activating some of these energies. And then we'll talk about some of these other considerations. Make sure to stay with your body, give your body a nice squeeze. And we're going to actually put two of our hands above each other on our heart, okay? For most of us, our heart is on the left side of our body, right? So that one hand over the other above our heart. If you are on your own and you feel comfortable doing so, it's actually really yummy to do this skin on skin as well. I do this when I'm sleeping and I'd like to rest and sleep in a deeper, more nurturing way. At least when I remember. I don't always remember. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn on the energies of the body process. So notice if you notice any energies moving differently. Go ahead and scan your body and see if there's anything that feels heavy, contracted, or dense. Go ahead and soften and notice your breathing. And it's really important to stay with your body, not just while I'm flowing these energies to you, but at all times, because it's a lot harder to be clear on what's actually true for you and yours when you're in your head, when you're living in the past, when you're anxious about the future. So that's something to really practice for everything, okay? It really helps with your self-regulation, with you having a greater sense of calm. And also for all of us, we're aware of other people's energies and vibrations, their emotions, their thoughts all the time. And so when you're with your body, you can decipher between, is this me or is this someone else's stuff, a lot easier. But if you're in your head or you've already decided that it's yours, then it's a lot harder to do that. Okay. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Thank you for being willing to receive this. I'm going to refer to some of the other people who sent in some messages. Vivian B sent me a message saying, I honor all of my family, especially my brother's mother-in-law, Harriet. She was at home for hospice care, and it's been heart-wrenching. I wish you healing, peace for your painful losses, referring to me. Thank you so much, Vivian. Vivian is actually a distant relative of mine. So she said our quote unquote grandma, Harriet, passed on to the Lord's arms this past week. So sending you lots of love, Vivian. It's a recent family member that I've gotten to discover now that I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. How cool is that? It's never too late to find new family, especially given how big my family is. And then there's the chosen family. And if you're listening to this, you're probably part of my chosen family. So thank you for that. Vanita C said, rest in peace to her father, Jaram. Thanksgiving time was when he passed away in November 25th of 1985. Her father-in-law, Jeremy, died April 5th of 1985, the spouse's birthday. And then her sister, Gunvanti, died February of 2008. Thank you for including the energies of your loved ones here and your energy into this discussion. So everything that this is bringing up, would you be willing to let all of the heaviness go, everyone? Take some deep breaths and let's recall some fond memories. What are some of the foods that when you think of your loved ones, you're like, ooh, that. Like my grandmother was an avid cook. We called her the cooking machine. And she would wake up thinking about what she was going to cook the whole day. Her and my grandfather owned a restaurant in Puerto Rico for many years, very successfully. And even after the restaurant, they closed the restaurant, they always were congregating around the kitchen. My family gets together around food, talking about food, eating food, cooking food, all the time, watching food shows. Maybe some of your family can relate to that. And so what are some of the food items that could be a way for you to honor your loved ones? And it doesn't have to be you cooking them. If you don't really feel like you're a really good chef, that's fine, or you're not in the mood to cook. Maybe you could order it. Maybe you could have another friend or family cook it for you and bake it for you. My family is big on baking cakes and decorating cakes. And my grandmother was really good at baking cakes. And my uncles who have passed away, I've had many uncles from New York who've passed away. They would love to eat together. They would take me out to restaurants when I would visit them in New York. Yes, I'm thinking of you, Tios. Hello, hello. So what's the food for you? I have a message from Loredana G. Loredana says that her mom passed away. Where is that? I just saw it. Her mother passed away. She'd like to honor her mom. She'd never let herself be free. And so hopefully your mom feels more free now, Loredana. And what if you could, with your choices, be an example and an invitation for the ones that are still here on this planet with you to know what being free feels like. So anything that doesn't allow that for any of us, let's go ahead and just let that melt out of our bodies. Yeah. Oh, I have a lovely message here from our live chat. Mom and I made pies and butter tarts. Ooh, I've never heard of a butter tart. I want some now. And mom would make the best roast beef and potato meals. So good. Oh, that's great for wintertime, like the stick to your bones kind of meals. Ooh, love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I'm actually hoping that one of the people that I'd really like to have as a guest in the future, we're in talks and trying to find dates that would work. She's a specialist with end of life planning and end of life ceremonies in a really personalized way. So she'll create these personalized plans for people that, and just such creative, different things that I haven't even considered. I don't want to ruin any of the surprises, but it's been really cool to see all these different ways that people can memorialize and honor their loved ones as they're transitioning and then after they've transitioned. So some really cool stuff. Oh, and then Loredana's going to make a chocolate cake for her mom. Yum. An Italian chocolate cake. I'm about it. Thank you very much. I want pictures. I want a slice. I don't think it'll taste very good by the time it gets to me from Italy, but I'm willing to try, just for research, just for the science of it. Gosh. All right. And then how about the music and the dancing? The movement in general, we're going to get to different kinds of movements that we can do. One of the things that people often say that they love about this body process is that there's a lot of movement involved. So in all of the classes, we've had kids that are involved and they learn how to run this body process on themselves, on their parents, on their siblings. It works really well for sibling conflict and like reducing a lot of that, which I love. But then on top of that, it's something where the kids don't have to stay still. It's not a class where they have to be sitting and like at a table or at a desk the whole time. They get to move around. And a lot of the movements, it's kind of like dancing. And so for them, they're like, ooh, this is cool. It's like gym class. It's like I'm at recess at the playground. And then I'm also noticing that I'm smiling more and my mom is smiling more. And I just feel this lightness. And one of the kiddos, she was like a third grader, was like, I feel like I'm floating off of the ground. And I was like, ooh, I'll have some of that. Can you imagine how that would be if the world had more of that instead of a lot of the heaviness and a lot of what feels like it's just so much weight when we're grieving the loss of a loved one? So this is one of the things that this body process invites all of us to. And there's actually tasters of the body process where I teach some of the movements on the Living and Dying Body Process landing page. It's at empoweringlightlanguage.com/living and dying. Something to consider. All right. Before our break, I'd like to mention a couple more of our messages that I've received from people. Thank you. This is so great. Jennifer B said, thank you for including our loved ones who have passed. She would like to acknowledge Cole Kirkland, mi abuela Rosalie, mi abuela Carol. Abuela and abuelo are the terms in Spanish for grandma and grandpa. Mi abuelo Marvin, Aunt Alice, and Aunt Louise. Thank you, Jennifer, for including these energies. They are a fun and wily group is what I perceive. And I haven't used the word wily in a while, but it just seems to fit. Let me know if that resonates with you. Awesome. So yes, we're going to talk about, after this next break, we're going to talk more about the music and the dancing, the movement that we can do to honor our loved ones. Okay. So you are listening to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, with myself, Siris, on Inspired Choices Network. And when we return, we will continue to discuss honoring those who have passed. We will be right back.
Most people haven't been taught how to listen and partner with their bodies in order to create lives that include clarity, pleasure, ease, and connection. Tuning in to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and resources on how to use your awareness of bodies and energy to your advantage. Siris is a family and child coach and therapeutic energy worker who will guide you to get clear and acknowledge what's brilliant, magical, and a gift about you.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Choosing a Different Future show with Siris. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Connect with Siris through her website, empoweringlightlanguage.com, or send an email to empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Siris Raquel Rivas-Verdejo on Choosing a Different Future with Siris. And today our show topic is honoring those who have passed. We've been having so much fun. I know, even given this topic, it can be a lot lighter and more fun than we've acknowledged so far. And so how much more joy can we invite as we continue to discuss the music and the dancing that we can use to honor our loved ones? So I was born in Puerto Rico and my dad's Dominican. So I'm half Dominican and half Puerto Rican, but I was raised in the United States. And I first started in Chicago and in the suburbs of Chicago. And then I moved to Savannah, Georgia. And now I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, with a lot of traveling around the world mixed in there. And one of the things I love is all different kinds of music and dancing, not just ones that are considered world music, but like from Korean pop music to Swedish folk polka music to all of the Latin American music. And I've been really loving kizomba recently and exploring that and learning about it, which is not a type of Latin music that at all was part of my childhood. It was more merengue, salsa, and then it started moving into a little bit of bachata and reggaeton because they started being discovered. They weren't around when I was born. Very, very fun. Lots of fun. We can talk dancing anytime if you'd like. But one of the things that I recently realized was that kizomba, I started being interested in it while I was caring for my grandmother 24/7 with my mom. We were splitting duties. And I'm so, so grateful for my mom. And hi, Ma, wherever you are. So, so grateful for us to be able to share that together and for me to be able to be there for my grandmother in that way. Because remember, she was my first babysitter. And so I got to care for her at the time of her life. It was truly full circle. And we would refer to it. She was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're helping me dress and bathe and all these different things. And I was like, you mean like what you did for me? Like, I'm really grateful that I could do that for you. And she would be like, oh, okay. And it would let her like not feel so embarrassed about it, you know? And we could just acknowledge that, you know, this is something that is part of the process of living, that dying is in it. And I have a very different perspective on living and dying. For me, living is the things that you add, the people you add, the places that you add, those experiences that create more, that expand your world, that give you more of yourself. And dying isn't what we've been told, in my opinion. It's actually about what you let go of. Those heavy energies, those sadnesses, the trauma, the abuse, the upset, the things you let go of to create more. And we don't have to let go of everything. It's not an all or nothing. I'm not going to be letting go of the love that I have for my grandmother and all these other amazing people that have impacted my life, that have transitioned. I'm not going to be letting go of the memories, of the fondness, of the things that they inspired in me that I can keep doing, like the dancing, like the singing, even though you guys don't want to hear me sing. I won't torture you with that. I'll just do it on my own. I might break this microphone. But I can let go of the heaviness around it. I can let go of any of those regrets. And movement is a great way to do that. Yelling it out, crying it out, and then singing it out. And sometimes I'm singing, y'all, and I'm singing while I'm crying. And that's okay too. Again, it doesn't have to be one or the other. We are complex beings, and all of these things that come with grief are very different and varied and just so mixed. And so you don't have to make it be any one thing. Let it be what it is, and let all of that stuff flow out of your body. Let's ramp up this energy even more. Thank you for being willing to receive this. And let that stuff that is not going to create more pour out of your body into the earth. Thank you, earth. Thank you, earth. Thank you, bodies. Thank you, bodies. Yeah. There's a couple more activities that we can do too. But I'd like to acknowledge that my wonderful executive producer and the founder of the Inspired Choices Network, Christine McIver. Hi, Christine. Her mom, Norma McIver, passed away this past June. And her niece, her brother, her father, their energies are here as well. And thank you, because even in the midst of all of these things going on, she had my back, and she's had the back of all of these hosts. And she's been such an inspiration of how you can grieve and do self-care and still be a freaking badass with business and still be a really, really good friend. And that's the thing. We're not really told. There's so many people that are grieving. And I knew this. This is part of why I really wanted to do this call. There are so many people grieving. There are so many people struggling. There are so many people that have all these different things going on that we have no idea, because they're still showing up for us. They're still showing up for their clients, for their patients, for their students, for their kids, for the world, whatever level that is, and you have no idea. And so part of what I wanted to do with this is to let you into my world, because yes, I'm showing up. Yes, I'm here for y'all every week and anytime you message. And yet, man, has the last couple of months been so freaking hard. It's been really hard. And it's okay that it's hard. It's not about, some people are like, Siris, you're so happy, and they think that it's like you're in la la land. Like, no, there are these ebbs and flows. It's just more times than not, I'm going to pivot to the happy. I'm going to pivot to those fond memories. I'm going to pivot to gratitude. And even through the tears, I can still find more and more, if I lean into it, those moments and things to be, wow, yeah, about like, okay, this is something that's still worth living. Because when you're really heavy in it, man, you start to question, did I sign up for this? Is this really what I'm here for? Because, man, if this is part of living, I'm not sure if I want it. And that's okay too. That's an okay, valid thought to have. Okay. And I know that the more of us that are willing to have these conversations, the more of us that are willing to let go of these heavy energies and these regrets and the sadness, the better the world can be. So if you're choosing this, if you're choosing to be here and you're choosing to, yes, have this intensity and have these things come up, and yet still show up anyway for yourself and for anyone else you'd like to show up for, I commend you. That is huge. And the world is better for it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to wipe the tears and the boogers a little bit here, y'all. One moment. Don't worry, the energies are still running, even though I'm wiping my nose. Oh my goodness. I had the tissues ready. I knew it was going to happen. Maybe you did too. All right, we're going to still have both of our hands over our heart. We're turning on the energies, the body process. Notice how you may feel a bit softer, even because we're laughing as we're crying. It's not one or the other, like I've said. It's okay. I got you. I'm here with you. The earth is here with you. And this beautiful community of people listening to this call now and in the future are also here for you. How cool is that? You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. So some really different activities that I've been hearing people do that have been a way of honoring their loved ones that I'd like to share with you. Somebody told me that they actually started writing the book that they had been wondering and pondering about after one of their loved ones passed away. I was like, that's so cool. And I thought of that with my grandmother for sure, because she was always full of stories. She was an amazing storyteller. She'd wake up after every night of sleep and she'd have really detailed dreams, and she'd tell you blow by blow everything that happened in the dreams. Who she talked to, what they wore, what they said, what she said back, all of it. You can't, it's just like, okay, you're eating your breakfast and you're listening to a whole movie. So are there any books that are waiting for you to write? Are there any blogs perhaps? Is there a business idea that has been waiting in the wings for you to create that would be a way for you to honor your loved ones? One of the things that I did as a teenager, I remember this very clearly, is I was in the kitchen. We had just moved into this new home. It was a couple years after my parents had divorced, which was a really rough time for many years after the divorce. And my mom was there, my maternal grandmother was there, and I was there. And I'm not sure what made me think of this, but I started thinking about my grandmother dying. And this was now more than 20 years ago. So she still had quite a bit of time left. I didn't know how long at the time. And I turned to them both and I asked, can we have this? Can we have this for as long as we can have this? Can I still have this even after you pass away? And they were like, well, what do you mean? And I asked, could you visit me in my dreams after you pass away? And we all started crying and hugging. And we promised each other that we would. We were like, you know what? We're all three of us are like super aware of entities. We're super aware of the unseen. We're super aware of spirits. We're very tapped into people's bodies. I think my mom and I have embraced it and leaned into it, which has helped my grandmother really acknowledge her gifts with it, because she always had it her whole childhood. But until we were doing trainings and classes and traveling around the world and talking to other facilitators and coaches and healers, we really weren't acknowledging it even ourselves. And then when we did, it became this example to her of, oh, okay, it's safe to do this. It's okay to talk about it. And so every time I have these conversations, I know that I'm honoring my grandmother. And what's a conversation that you could have that maybe you could have either again or with somebody new or in a different way that would be a way of honoring your loved ones? A conversation you may be avoiding, or one that someone else is asking you to have with them and you haven't chosen it yet. With that request that I made for them to visit me in my dreams, it started me on the journey of creating the living and dying body process. I get that now. It started to acknowledge my gifts with bodies and with the unseen. And there are these elements of living. We've talked about them in some of the other calls, There are these elements of living that are these concepts and ideas, these energies that are within us and around us that help us create our lives. And one of the categories of the elements of living are the worlds. And one of the worlds that we can play with to create our lives is dreamland. And I've done a video on dreamland. It's on my YouTube channel. You can find it there. But I recognize now that here I was maybe 14, 15, and with this vulnerable ask, I opened up the door to this completely new possibility that hadn't existed before. And I'll keep you posted. She hasn't visited me yet in my dreams. I know she will when she's ready. She's really good about keeping her promises. But that's something that many of us haven't considered, is what we could ask our loved ones for even before they transition. And it's never too late even after. We can ask for that. We can ask for them to visit us, be it in our dreams or in another way. So it's time for our next break, lovies. What a wonderful discussion. When we return, we will continue to discuss some of the other activities that we can do to honor our loved ones. You are listening to Choosing a Different Future with Siris on the Inspired Choices Network. When we return, we will continue to discuss honoring those who have passed. We'll be right back.
Most people haven't been taught how to listen and partner with their bodies in order to create lives that include clarity, pleasure, ease, and connection. Tuning in to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and resources on how to use your awareness of bodies and energy to your advantage. Siris is a family and child coach and therapeutic energy worker who will guide you to get clear and acknowledge what's brilliant, magical, and a gift about you. This is the Choosing a Different Future show with Siris. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Connect with Siris through her website, empoweringlightlanguage.com, or send an email to empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Siris Raquel Rivas-Verdejo on Choosing a Different Future with Siris. And today our show topic is honoring those who have passed. And so before we went on break, we were discussing some of the activities that we can do to honor our loved ones, some of which maybe you've considered before, some in which we haven't. And we've been running the living and dying body process on ourselves. I've been flowing those energies to you throughout this whole show. So if you're just catching us now, feel free to go back to the beginning and check out the replays. Bookmark this call. If this contributes to you, share it with your loved ones, with your friends and family, for anyone that you feel would benefit from having more ease and more clarity with the grieving process, and with anyone who has passed and transitioned. Before I forget, I don't want to miss mentioning some of the other messages that were sent in for people who wanted us to mention their loved ones and include their energy in this show. Cass H said, my mother, Josephine, passed away December 23rd, 2009. My father, Nelson, passed away April 13th, 2005. My long ago love, Bill Vernon, passed away 5 years ago. And so many friends and family who have passed over the years. Thank you so much for this series. Thank you so much, Cass, for including your family and for your vulnerability. There were some people that messaged me and they said, can I write a whole page? There's been so many people. I get it. And so if you didn't mention everybody, that's okay. They are here. Their energy is here through you. So thank you. Kashmir B said, please include my favorite man, AKA my grandfather, Arthur Brown, a phenomenal human, sending love and light as you enter the season without your abuela. Thank you. Such a lovely message. How did I get so lucky? My goodness. You guys are amazing. Thank you. So, let's continue. We talked about food. We talked about music. We talked about these energies, reading and writing, the things that we can create with our businesses, with how we show up and be in the world. All of these are ways of honoring those who have passed. There's also ways that you don't have to wait until they have passed. Those of you who are carers and givers and healers, how much is how much of what you're choosing to do and be in the world is already a way of honoring your loved ones, and you haven't recognized that yet. And if you were leaned into that and saw the gift that that was to those that you're impacting, how much of a gift would that be also to your loved ones? I get that I am like an embodiment and a creation of all of my ancestors before me and my own individual choices. And so I'm really, really proud of myself, but I'm really proud of all of my family who have come before me and who are still in the wings, that have my back, that are loving on me and are there for me now. And all of them are continuing to contribute and support me. How much are you already doing that for people and you haven't acknowledged that? Another way for you to honor your loved ones that you might not realize is I've been there when many people have passed away. I was actually there when my grandmother passed away. She always said she was going to die at 3 a.m. And so she would always be very anxious in the middle of the night. And we got an emergency flight, me and my mother. We landed at 1, we got to her at 2 a.m. and she passed at 3 a.m. And she'd been saying that for years. So being there at the presence when someone is sick, being there when they transition can be a great honor if you're up for it. I have no point of view about it. You don't have to do it. You don't have to force yourself to do it. But if you have been there and you have considered it, have you acknowledged, have you given yourself credit? Wow, I was there. I was there for them. And that's not a small thing. That's a pretty big gift that you gave them, to be there and in their presence. So in case you haven't heard it from them, in case you haven't acknowledged those whispers in your knowing that they're sending you, thank you. I'm going to say thank you for them to you. Thank you. And there's also receiving messages. Check out some of our other calls, like knowing which doors to open and which to close. There's so many calls we've talked about receiving. Check them out, because we are sometimes messengers. We are sometimes the speakers for people who are so overwhelmed by their grief that they are not able to perceive the messages that their loved ones who have transitioned are sending. And I definitely have a lot of experience with that. From my friend Pat, who died suddenly at 40, he came to me and my mom and we was blowing a candle around, and we were like, "Hey Pat, what's going on?" And he sent us messages to impart to his wife, who was super overwhelmed by the sudden death, that he just collapsed in a really complicated situation. And so when she was ready to hear it, we had messages for her from him. It was such an honor that he was like, "Hey, I want you, out of all these billions of people on the planet, I want you to be the one to convey this message." Maybe perhaps he realized that she would actually believe it from me and maybe not someone else, because I'm that weird, different friend that does all this energy stuff. But I wonder how many messages you're receiving for yourself and how much you're receiving for others that you could start to acknowledge and lean into, so that you can continue to honor those who have passed. Oh, my goodness, what an amazing discussion so far. Go ahead, and if you're ready, you can take your hands down from your heart. If you want to keep running them there, keep going and running it. Run it until you feel like, okay, it goes and it's done. It's no worries. It's going to continue to do its thing for however long you'd like it to be flowing through your body. But notice and take stock of how your body feels now. Hopefully it feels a bit lighter. I know mine does. Thank you for being this beautiful space with me as we've been discussing honoring those who have passed. Please join us in our next show. We have a special guest, Spirit Baptiste, and she's going to be talking about having divine authority for irresistible success in business. This is going to be a great discussion that you're not going to want to miss, especially if you want to tap into the unseen related to your business. Contact me at any time. It's going to be an amazing series coming up. We have a bunch of really great episodes. You can meet us here and check back in every Friday at 10 a.m. North American time. Bye for now, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Choosing a Different Future show. Siris returns Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, keep choosing what will work for you and your body, your own unique way honoring what will work for you.